How's it going, everybody? And I want to welcome everybody back to the channel. I wanted to put out a quick video. I'm going to try my best to keep this very short and to the point. Tonight, Saturday, July 20th at 8 o'clock Central Time, I will be going live on YouTube to do the troubleshooting section of the Cisco ENCOR and ENARSI series. There are 10 tickets that you and I will walk through, and we will. The goal is to both live stream the videos, so it'll be live on YouTube for everybody to watch. In addition to that, I'm going to attempt to record the videos individually, and I don't know exactly how it's going to work out yet. But I think I can go live and record at the same time. So my goal is to live stream it so that anybody can watch. And then if you're looking for the individual recordings per ticket, my goal is to record them as well. But I want to record in a fashion that allows people to be interactive. I think that's really beneficial. So I'm going to attempt to record the individual sessions. And if I'm not able to record while I'm live, I will re-record the individual videos. I've already recorded one. I wasn't really happy with the way that it came out, which is cool because then I can do it over and over and over again. So there will be a Microsoft Teams link in the description of this video. And if you are interested in participating on the Teams call, feel free to jump on that. I will have that go live when I go. I'll turn the Teams call on when I go live on YouTube. And the idea is for us to walk through the 10 tickets. My goal is to inject the faults as we go through actually I might do it ahead of time to where it might be multi-process. So where you would have to resolve multiple issues that might be interdependent. I think that's what I'm going to do, actually. I think I've got them all written out, and it's just a matter of going through and injecting all the faults, and then you and I will have to go through verification. So if you're interested in that tonight, feel free to jump on, and we will walk through that Microsoft Teams call, YouTube video live, or YouTube live. I'm going to attempt to record on a per ticket basis. So when we record them, and I'll try to organize them and stuff like that, or I may have to re-record them, but anyway, that's not that big of a deal. So if you're interested in that, at 8 o'clock Central Time, so in about 4.5 hours from now, we'll go ahead and do that. I have some other stuff that I'm going to talk about here after that, but if you guys are interested in that, you know what time I'll be going live, you'll get a notification for it and things like that. So I'm actually... somebody gave a viewer on a live gave me the idea, so I forget that person's name, but I'm sure they'll be there. But with that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the major IT incident that happened Thursday going into Friday with CrowdStrike. There was a couple of posts that I saw on LinkedIn, and I have an opinion about the situation, but my opinion is that somebody or a group of people dropped the ball somewhere in the process of the CrowdStrike developing an update, and then whatever processors, procedures, or methods, or whatever term you want to throw at it, something failed between development and it getting pushed to production. And even though I've seen posts, I've seen the CEO go out online and talk about how this was not a security event, and I have to disagree with him. I definitely think this was a major issue for them. They claim to have rolled back the issue, discovered the problem, potentially fixed it. I haven't been able to keep up with everything, but the bottom line to me is this was completely avoidable, if you spend the correct amount of time going through your processes and validating what's going on. And that wasn't done. And because that wasn't done, there were, based off of the Reddit CrowdStrike subreddit and other posts that I've seen online, there were millions of endpoints affected by this, and the computer that I'm recording on was taken down. And there was a handful of other systems that family related and friends and things like that that were affected by this that didn't know how to fix it, and I had to help them resolve the issue. So to me, it's not technically a personal issue, but more of I'll say, wow, you guys did not do a very good job of vetting out an update before you pushed it. And based off of the numbers that I've seen in posts, a lot of people were affected by this starting Thursday evening, late Thursday night, early Friday morning through Friday. The company I work for had a portion of its infrastructure affected. So it's a big snafu. And my opinion on it is whenever there's a major issue like this, there has to be some sort of accountability that goes to it. And I personally don't think an apology and the words that I've read and heard were working directly with all the affected customers. I personally don't think that's enough. But I've never been the CEO of a company. Well, I guess you could say I have too. Riker's I Own Training back when it existed, and then at RobRikersTechChannel.com. So that's the second company that I head. So that to me is not enough. You need to do better. And I don't know what the solution is for any of this stuff. I was able to get my computer working, but I really feel bad for the guys and the gals that are out there that have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of systems that they need to get their hands on to fix. Those are the folks that I do not envy, and that if they're the ones having to do all the heavy lifting, those are the folks that really deserve the support, in my opinion, the sympathy, the empathy, because they're the ones having to go through the steps and the processes. I think it took me an hour to figure out on my personal computer what to do, and then once I figured it out, it took me on average 15 minutes per system that I touched, and that was an additional 3 hours. So when you get stuff like that where you have to help fix computers because they go down because a cybersecurity company, in my opinion, didn't put enough effort into their, I'm going to say CI/CD pipeline. I might be using the wrong term, but in their production process, their development process of a patch or an update to something, and it cripples systems. There's more Windows systems out there than there is anything else. And Mac and Linux, there's still a lot of systems out there that are Mac and Linux, but they weren't affected. It was Windows systems. And thankfully, not every system has it enabled. I went through and I renamed the CrowdStrike folder in my computer so that it doesn't get affected. So it doesn't even boot. So that's how I was able to fix mine. Deleting the actual file name that they claimed was the fix, that didn't do anything. My computer still went into a blue screen of death boot loop. And until I was able to read something about renaming the folder, as far as I'm concerned, CrowdStrike, as soon as I have the opportunity to uninstall it from my computer, it's gone. Like, I'm never going to touch it again. And any customers, and there are several customers that I have been talking to that were interested in CrowdStrike as an endpoint protection option, yeah, I'm going to strongly advise them on not. Because if their systems all went down and we were the one, I was a solutions architect that said, yeah, CrowdStrike is solid. Now, my credibility has been tarnished because I gave the thumbs up to a company that then released a patch, released an update, or whatever you want to call it, that didn't have the appropriate effects, and it crippled systems around the world. That to me, that should never have happened. I understand in certain cases where internet routing issues occur, right? You've got somebody screws up a BGP somewhere in the internet. Whether it's they fat finger something, they didn't take the extra 2 minutes to have somebody review the config, or maybe they were sitting on a support call too long and they got tired and they just wanted to get off the call. I get those, and the reason I get those is because it doesn't cripple the internet everywhere. To me, that is something that's usually regional to a certain extent, or it doesn't affect everything. There were hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Windows PCs that were affected by this. And usually when there's an internet outage and there's a BGP issue somewhere, as soon as the routing itself is fixed, whatever the syntax is that was improperly configured, whether it was a /8 or a GE3024 to an LE32 on a prefix list, something that is routing specific. Those problems, once they are resolved, the internet recovers and no endpoints are affected, right? They couldn't get to where they wanted to go because there was no network path to get them there. There's no thousands of support folks that have to go out there and spend God only knows how many hours to fix the problem. Those are the people that I feel sorry for. I'm thankful that I'm not in support and that my weekend didn't get ruined by that, but I've been there. I've seen that stuff, not to that level, obviously, but I have had systems crash and you spend the weekend rebuilding it because you have to be ready for business on Monday. So those are the folks that I feel bad for. And internet outages, in the grand scheme of things, because of a misconfiguration or what have you, pale in comparison to the issues that I'm seeing posted online today. There's a lot of people out there that are, especially your news sources, they really don't have a freaking clue what they're talking about. And I commented on a couple of, on YouTube, I commented on a couple of posts that I saw, and it was very, very clear that the people that were reporting had zero idea what they were talking about. I'm not a cybersecurity engineer or expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a network engineer. My job is to get networking up and running, to understand how to secure it. That's my role, right? And that's going to be WAN, LAN, data center, cloud, all those things. So in that respect, I look at this as a major issue that a cybersecurity company inflicted on a large portion of its user group and its customer base. And that to me is that's a big holy crap, we need to reconsider what we're doing with CrowdStrike. So that is pretty much what I have to say about that. It's like I said, it's internet network BGP routing issues that affect, even if it's like 20 or 30% of the internet, are usually resolvable, but they don't affect the users at the end of the day, right? You just can't reach something on the internet. And then when you do things finally do come back online, sometimes systems do need to be reset because things time out. And if you're using internet-based VPNs and things like that, VPNs need to be respun up or a database needs to be reset. But usually the impact is pretty light, considering. It's not thousands, if not millions of endpoints that need to be manually intervened on to bypass a boot loop issue that you can only fix by physically going to each computer and fixing. That to me is a much bigger impact, and that to me is where this needs to be held at a higher level of accountability and standard because of the manpower that's going to be needed in order to fix it. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. And on a happier note, I wanted to wrap this video with this. I've recently purchased a Cisco 2504 wireless controller, And I have spent the last couple days monkeying around with it. And I have a couple of 3702 access points in my basement, and one of them I converted to be a lightweight access point. And through a number of Googles and trying to figure out what the problem was, I was able to get the access point to discover. I was able to get to the controller. That was a little bit of a trick. But once I got onto the controller, I was able to get the access point to discover the controller and then join the controller. And then on top of that, I was able to create a wireless network on the controller, push it to the access point, and my phone actually is on this controller's wireless at the moment. So I am currently working my way through some older CCNA wireless content because I wanted to start at the ground level, because it's like, okay, I need baby steps right now. I'm not a wireless engineer by trade. I understand how it works at a high level, but I've never really spent the time to really learn wireless. So part of my CCDE training that I'm going through right now, as I mentioned in previous videos, I'm working on the things that I know the least. Automation will probably come at the very end, but I'm focusing on the things that I know the least, that I need to spend more time on, and really enjoying that process. And one of those things that I'm doing is working my way through the wireless topics. So I'm going through CCNA wireless right now. I've got some access to some older content that I'm watching. Then I'm going to work my way up into CCNP enterprise wireless, and I'm probably going to take the exam at some point in time. But right now it's just, how do these things work? How do I get basic wireless to work? Roaming, and how do I do 802.1x? I've already got identity services rolled out, so how do I get the controller to talk to ICE and then do authentication, that way, do, whether it's an acceptable use policy, or go through all those cool things. As you can see, I've got quite a bit going on right here. I've got one client. My phone happens to be on the this wireless network right now. It was an easy one to throw in there, but it's a lot of going through this process. I'm really enjoying it right now. I plan on everything that I'm going through for wireless, I plan on creating content for, and going through the details of how that's going to work. I had the 9800 cloud controller, wireless controller, stood up as a VM in ESXi, and my goal is to also attempt to get one of my access points to talk to it. I discovered an issue on some of the access points with certificates, so I'm going to try to fix that issue, see if I can get that to work. So there's a lot of cool stuff that I'm working on currently that I will be creating content for over the next period of time. And then as I get through wireless, probably pass my NP in wireless. Actually, let me take just a second here and go over here to certs, and we're going to go to CCNP. And I'm going to look at, I think it's one exam, if I'm not mistaken. And if we look here at, it's two, implementing and designing. So I'm probably going to take both of these exams. So I get you only need to take one to get your enterprise wireless exam, but I probably would do the implementing, and then I would flip over to design. I will be reading the book for this. That goes over this. So let me go ahead and just review the exam topics real quick. Flex Connect. So I have to go through all this stuff here because I don't know much about it, other than like the multicast pieces to it, but I'm definitely going to be spending some time going through all these bullet points and understanding how they all work. So I'm really excited about doing all that. So even though wireless is probably one of my least favorite topics as a network engineer, it's still something that I need to go through for the CCDE prep. And then I'm slowly working my way up in the blueprint for DEV 3.1. So that's my goal right now. So that's where I'm at with that. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by and hanging out with me in this video. I want to try to keep it under 20 minutes. Just remember, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, I will be going live for as long as it takes in order to get the videos done for the ENARSI series. So, with that being said, I'll catch all of you guys later on today. Have a good one, everybody.